I have been drinking coffee every single day for over a decade until now. This week, the past 7 days, I experimented with not drinking any coffee at all. And after years of consuming large amounts of coffee like this every single day, it was actually quite difficult to stop for a whole entire week. But there were so many positive aspects to it. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the positive aspects and some of the negative ones too about stopping coffee for an entire week and maybe even more. Before we get into the video, have you ever thought about stopping coffee and what would happen if you did? So first of all, let's talk about my daily coffee routine. So yeah, I would wake up in the morning, whether it's a weekday or the weekend, and I would immediately go to, after brushing my teeth, going to the bathroom, taking a shower, putting on clothes, whatever else, I would go to make some coffee, and then I would immediately start drinking the coffee from about 6:30 a.m. until about 10 or 11, which is when I would finish drinking one of these. And on a typical day, I would fill this thing back up at that time and then probably finish it around 2 o'clock or 2:30, and I wouldn't drink any more. I did this for, probably a decade or so. And at that time, I thought that drinking coffee was perfectly normal and perfectly okay for my health. I thought that there were no side effects, especially the fact that I stopped drinking at latest 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. at the latest on most days, except for the weekends. I had some exceptions where I would drink in the evening. So how did I come up with this idea to stop drinking coffee for a week? It came down to when I was watching a movie with my family and I was at the theater. I had a coffee before going into the theater, and then while I was in the theater I had a coffee, and then after that I started to get a really bad headache. So I was like, wait, I think this headache is honestly due to the coffee, too much caffeine. Overdose can probably cause this. So it came down to that, and I was like, it's time for me to do an experiment and hold to the experiment. For a whole entire 7 days, from Sunday to Sunday of the following week, I did not drink any coffee. And here's what the results were. Day one, I was quite lethargic. Sunday, I was spending time with family and stuff like that, but it felt like my head was in space. It was very cloudy, as if I were dreaming or something. And day two, Monday, I had to go into work, and that was very tough. I mean, it wasn't unbearable or anything, but as I was going through the day, the previous day, it was like my head was in a fog. I guess it's called a brain fog. And I could still think, I could still do my tasks, I could still do it efficiently. But if I sat down, just sitting there for a bit, it felt like I was getting very sleepy, I wanted to doze off. And that wasn't a normal experience at the time that I was drinking coffee every day. I would go through my day and mostly be fine, mostly have enough energy and could think well. But at the end of the second day, my God, I definitely went through a withdrawal because I got this extreme headache. It was like a migraine for sure. By the time I got home at 5 o'clock, I started to feel the effects of the withdrawal. And I had dinner with my family, and then by 6, 7, this throbbing headache just came pounding, and I slept at 7:30, which is not very normal for me. Usually I'm up until 10. And so 7:30 sleep. Next day I woke up without a headache, which is good, okay? And I went through my day, and of course I had the temptation of drinking coffee because I'm next to my coworkers and they're drinking coffee, and I was definitely tempted, but I wanted to finish this thing off strong, and I wanted to stay committed to my goal of no coffee for a week. So I didn't have a headache the third day, which is nice. Who would want to experience a headache again after having a migraine the night before? No one, right? So I did have a headache, and actually my symptoms of withdrawal were not really there, and the brain fog actually started to go away. I was actually starting to feel a bit more clarity in the way that I was thinking, and also my energy started to increase as well. My sleep as well, wearing like these watches that track your sleep, I noticed that my sleep points were a whole lot better this third day that I slept, the third night. So I was like, whoa, after the withdrawal, I can see that there are some positive aspects of not drinking so much caffeine, so much coffee. And I started to feel more like a normal human being, and I could feel like I could articulate myself a lot better. The way that I was speaking, the way I was thinking, getting a whole lot more done in a shorter period of time. I thought that was really strange because normally coffee makes you feel energetic. So why is it the fact that I'm not drinking any coffee at all, yet I'm feeling totally perfectly fine and capable of doing everything that I need to accomplish during that day? So day 4 through 7, like pretty much the same as day 3. I just noticed the mental clarity and also the energy. Like, I didn't really have a problem with feeling all that sleepy, except for if I didn't get too much sleep the night before. Then of course naturally I would feel a bit sleepy during the day, but if I got a good 7 hours of sleep, then my energy was fine throughout the whole day without coffee. So I felt like maybe coffee has been a crutch for me, and I've been using it incorrectly. If I think back to when I was in university, I did drink coffee, but it wasn't like an everyday, all the time type of thing. And especially before that in like high school, yeah, I would have a coffee like once in a while. So just the whole habit thing built up, especially as I started working, and it just went from. So yeah, there is a science behind this: adenosine, dopamine, and dependency. And I think all three of those were definitely affecting me. I think I got a bit of a dopamine effect, dopamine hit when I got the coffee. It was pleasurable, and also it was blocking the sleep, adenosine, I believe, blocking that. So, and then of course it built up a dependency on me every morning. It's my habit, drinking the coffee, and it was something that I felt like I needed, I guess. And so yeah, it's really good to be free from those shackles. And like I was mentioning earlier, like I felt like coffee was a crutch for me. It was masking maybe the sleepiness if I didn't get enough sleep the night before. And also the coffee itself was probably decreasing the quality of my sleep, as I noticed through the sleep tracker. So yeah, it's basically a crutch. And it's like the illusion of energy, as if the coffee is giving you energy, where in actuality, it's not. Like you getting enough sleep, eating the right types of food, drinking enough water, all of those is what gives you energy. Getting exercise and staying healthy physically and mentally, all of those give you energy, not the coffee itself. Although there are benefits to drinking coffee, just in moderation, right? At times, it may be beneficial to have a cup of coffee, but not to overdo it. So I guess what this video really comes down to is the ability to focus and think clearly. Hence, this channel is all about learning and trying to apply what you learn, so you need to be at the top of your game. So why not experiment with lessening your dosage of caffeine, maybe even cutting it out of your diet, just to see what the effects are. And I know the first 2 days or 3 days may be the most difficult, as it may cause you to have a withdrawal like I did and a very bad headache. But in the end, is it worth it? Probably. And I know that everyone probably has different experiences, so I'm curious, what is your experience with caffeine? Have you experimented with cutting it out, and was your body and mind's reaction different than what I experienced? Let me know in the comments. Let us know in the comments. That way we can start a conversation about this. Although I am probably not going to cut coffee out of my diet completely, I am going to be very mindful about how much coffee I consume, and I may go days without drinking any coffee at all. This is my future plan after doing this whole experiment for a week, realizing that I was in this vicious cycle of drinking 2 of these a day, and that is quite a bit. And I'm sure there are some people out there, some of you viewing maybe, that drank more than that, or maybe less. So are you going to try this thing out? Let me know in the comments whether you are or not, and what your experiments and experiences have been like with coffee. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and please do subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Share it with a friend, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.